The next speaker will be your representative, state representative, a strong constitutionalist by the name of Dan Itse. Dan?
Don't worry. Now, I hope my speech is going to be different than anything else you're going to hear today, because I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what you and we must do in this coming election. First, I want you to listen to the words of John Adams as he was signing the Declaration of Independence. Statesmen, my dear sirs, may plan and speculate for liberty, but it is religion and morality alone which can establish the principles upon which freedom can securely stand. The only foundation for a free constitution is pure virtue, and unless the people have it in greater measure than they have now, they may change their rulers, they may change their form of government, but they will not obtain a lasting liberty. He said of our Constitution that it is written only for a moral and religious people. Edmund Burke said, society cannot exist unless there is a controlling power upon will and appetite. And the less of there is within, the more there must be without. It is written in the eternal constitution of things that men of intemperate minds cannot be free. Their passions form their fetters. And indeed, for the first few decades, our republics were strong. Religion was at the forefront of our society. Listen to what Alexis de Tocqueville said of Americans in the early 19th century. The revolutionists of America are obliged to profess an ostensible respect for Christian morality and equity, which prevents them from wantonly violating the laws that oppose their desires. But, thus, while the law permits them to do what they please, religion prevents them from conceiving and forbids them to commit that which is rash or unjust. In 1776, the historian Andrew Tyler said, "The average life of the world's greatest civilizations has been 200 years. These nations have gone through the following sequence: from bondage to great courage, from courage to faith, spiritual faith, from faith to liberty, from liberty to abundance, from abundance to selfishness, from selfishness to apathy, from apathy to complacency, from complacency to dependency, and back to bondage." Where are we now? We must rediscover that spiritual faith that led to the courage that led to liberty. What do we do? Just as the founders of America found that they discovered that they were being deprived of their constitutional rights by the government that they had trusted to defend them, we too today find ourselves deprived of our constitutional rights. Just as they found themselves at a juncture in history that enabled them to reclaim those rights, we find ourselves at a similar juncture in history. Twice before, there's been a flip-flop in the legislature of New Hampshire. Both times it resulted in a loss of liberty. But the lesson to be learned from liberty is that when there is a flip-flop in the legislature, there is a loss of institutional memory that allows you to redefine the paradigm of politics. We can redefine the government of New Hampshire. We can restore liberty. If we elect the right legislature and the right governor, we can restore constitutional government in New Hampshire. This is truly the chance of the century, the chance of a lifetime. But how will you know who to vote for? Would anybody be surprised here if I told you that the Constitution of New Hampshire tells you how to choose your leaders? The Constitution of New Hampshire, Part 1, Article 38. Now I have to define two words here for you. Recur, which means to read, study, and discuss, and ought, which is the moral imperative, a duty. A frequent recurrence to the fundamental principles of the Constitution and a constant adherence to justice, moderation, temperance, industry, and frugality is indispensably necessary to the preservation of liberty and good government. The people, therefore, ought to have a particular regard to those principles in the selection of their officers and representatives, and they have a right to require of them an exact and constant observance of them in the formation and the execution of the laws necessary for the good administration of government. I ask you, the government of New Hampshire for the last 4 years, which has passed laws in direct contradiction to the testimony of public hearings, passed laws without public hearings, which was so afraid of the reaction of the people because of the laws that they had passed or failed to pass, that they felt it was necessary to prohibit firearms from the State House. Is that government adhering to those principles?
No!
Okay, now, the American War for Independence was preceded by a revival. Unless this revival of American government is accompanied by a revival greater than the Great Awakening, it will fail. It will become a blip in history, a speed bump in the road to tyranny. I have pledged and continue to pledge my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor to restore the constitutional government of New Hampshire and to defend liberty. And if you don't believe me, ask my wife this evening as I was coming here. I challenge you, are you ready to pledge your life, your fortune, and your sacred honor to restore constitutional government, the Republic of New Hampshire? You're ready to do what? I pledge, I, Daniel Itse, I,
Homer Ager,
pledge my life,
pledge my life,
my fortune, and my sacred honor to restore the Republic of New Hampshire
to restore the Republic of New Hampshire
and defend liberty.
and defend liberty.
God bless you all.
Thank you, Dan.
And if you want to learn more, I'm over there.
Thanks, Dan.